Today, by the end of this video, behind me there will be a lovely working toilet and a basin and all the gorgeous cabinetry that goes with it. But you're not going to go anywhere because you can learn along with me in this job all the little tips and tricks I use as a professional plumber to get this job done correctly and make it look absolutely beautiful. So without further ado, let's get on with step number one. Here we go. Right, so the first thing you want to do is acquaint yourself with the job and what is going on, where everything is. So we've got a flexible pan connector down here. We've got unusually 3 pipes down here, which is unusual because usually you only have a hot and a cold. The reason there's 3 pipes down here is I've actually done a previous video in this room and they had a hot and cold in 22mm, which are these big fat pipes that went over to a bath that's since been removed. I actually forgot which way round these were, but fortunately I had the video that I filmed in here from that job to acquaint myself with which pipes were the hot and cold, so I know which way round the hot and cold are, and you're going to need to know that as well. So find out which way the hot and cold are. If you have to go up in the loft and trace the pipes out, then that's something you're going to have to do. We've also got a lovely flexible pan connector just here. Some people don't like flexible pan connectors because they get it in their head that the concertina means that it's always going to block up with whatever you put down there, but that's not the case, okay? Usually the biggest issue with these is rats actually getting up in the 4-inch and then gnawing their way lovingly through the plastic. For some reason they love to eat that plastic, I don't know why. The next thing we need to do is think about the fact that we've got a basin going over here. We're going to need to go, well, where is our basin waste? So we're going to be cutting this piece up here because I think there's what we call a boss in there, and I'll be showing you a boss in a minute, so don't go anywhere. But also what you need to do is look at the things that you're going to install before you actually come in here and start cutting them about and everything, and understand what those things are. So let's do that together now. Rimless back to wall pan in here. So back to wall pans are lovely to fit because there's no weight on a frame or anything like that. They're generally a lot easier to install, and it's always a good idea now just to have a look at the back of the outlet on these to make sure that we can get to where our 4-inch concertina is going to go in there. So we've got this large basin here, and then we've got these 2 units here. The basin sits on there and then actually runs across at the top of this as well. This is going to be where we install our toilet cistern, and also our toilet is going to back onto that. So we need to know now straight away we're going to have to cut the side panel out of this to be able to get our waste through and also get our pipes through as well. And while we're here, we've also got the gubbins for our tap. So we've got a nice tap going in. Look at that, so all in there. Just leave that in there for now. But you just want to say, all right, look, I know now what the connectors are for that. These are 1/2-inch female. Toilet seat, just pop that over there with the bug. We've also got a waterless trap. So really unusual to see a waterless trap on these, but just make sure that you've read the instructions on how these work, and I'll be showing you how to fit this later on in the video. Clicker waste, nice. The cistern button, so that's the button for the toilet. And then also we've got a concealed cistern pack. Always a good idea just to pop that open as well. Make sure everything's inside and make sure you've got everything that you need. This step is also super important because it's you making sure that everything is there right at the start of the job that should be in the box. Sometimes not everything gets packed, and now is the time to find that out before you could even point the finger at yourself for losing it. Right, so back in here, look, this is where we're going to be putting our, well, hopefully we're going to get our waste pipe into there. It might be difficult. We're going into old pipe here, and I don't want to be breaking out all this box work just to change that boss. So we'll probably get a bit of 1.25 inch pipe work into there, and then I'm going to use some X-Pro stick seal to get round here. Thank you to X-Pro for sponsoring today's video. I've been using their sealants for a long time. You can get 20% off your X-Pro using the link and the code PLUMBERPARTS, all in caps, below. And I'll be using that later on in the video when we come to silicone up, so don't go anywhere. Came from a daffodil. So you've got to get the water turned off. Peter, yeah? I'm going to turn the water off, mate. Do you want to fill that kettle up? Hey! Yeah, you going to fill the kettle up, mate? Yeah. Good boy, yeah. You never know, do you? You never know. Right, it's down here somewhere. I'll have to leave the kitchen tap on this job. There we go. It depends what kind of system you have, but when you turn the water off, generally for you guys, it's the best thing to do is just to turn the mains off and then just open everything up. If you've got a big tank in the loft, a big black tank, you need to look for some taps inside the airing cupboard, some valves, and turn those off, okay? Go around the house after that. Once you think you've turned the water off, go and open every hot and cold tap in the house and make sure that you know everything's off. Probably a good idea as well that you flush the toilets, but sometimes you just need that cistern's worth of water in there if the toilet's going to be off for a long time, or if you think it's going to be off for a long time, fill a bucket up and you can use that to flush your toilet. We are going to have legs, so big drop down legs here of water in those pipes when we cut them, so always be prepared for that as well. But now I'm ready just to get our elbow stuck out for our toilet feed, but also our hot and colds out for the basin as well. So we're going to get all the rest of our pipework first fixed. You will need to have good knowledge of compression fittings and solder fittings, and if you don't have that knowledge, it's a good idea that you sign up to a lovely online plumbing course like this one here that I've made for you.
Let me take 48 seconds to tell you that you can learn plumbing online in a fully structured course and curriculum designed by me from the comfort of your home or shed in your own time to improve your basic plumbing skills and knowledge. From the basics of how to use basic plumbing tools, how to turn the water off, how to join and bend copper pipe and waste pipe, to a fun skills test where you'll make your own test rig, which trainees and apprentices do at MBQ level. There's even a section on the top 5 plumbing jobs that I'll teach you along the way. You can ask questions in the discussion panel next to each lesson, plus get access to the Plumbing Essentials community where you can post pictures of your work and talk about the course and learn from your peers. So if you're a young person looking to get into the industry, an apprentice who wants to brush up their skills, a DIYer interested in plumbing, or even a handyman looking to add plumbing to their services, then look no further than learnplumbingonline.com with yours truly from Plumber Parts. Anyway, back to the video.
Let's get down here now, start cutting these pipes through and getting our pipes first fixed. The reason we do that first and not when we've got these cabinets in is, firstly, obviously it's just difficult for us to get around when the cabinets are there in the way, but also we need to know where the pipe's going to be so we can cut our cabinet backs out so they can go back nicely to the wall as part of what I suppose you really call the second fix of the job. So let's get everything done now. You can watch me do it and I'll explain to you along the way what I'm doing and also what we end up with. Let's go. Right, so there we go, we've got those in there. So we've got our hot and colds running down here to our basin, but then we've also got a cold water main that we're going to use to come up to our toilet feed. So now we've got those pipes in, we can go about getting these popped back, marking the sides and then marking our cutouts so our units can go nicely back to the wall. Isn't that so much easier? So the best way to do this is get the cabinet that you want to fit, okay? And we know already that we're going to be doing cutouts down this side and also down here for our soil, our waste pipe and our copper pipes. But what you want to do is really just sight it in the position where we think it's going to be, push it back, and then we can mark out exactly where we want to do all those cutouts. So we're not doing loads of measuring or anything like that. It's quite a simple process, and then we can just get in there and get these all cut out outside. Now then, gang, for this bit you can use like a saw and then a multi-tool to sort of cut these bits out because they're not going to be seen. I just use a hole saw because it's a little bit easier. So I'm going to use a bloody hole saw, I don't care what you say. So I'll just hole saw the sides out and we're all good. Now just make your cuts. Right, for this side, because there is so much stuff, we're better off just cutting out a whole section. Structure doesn't actually kind of matter on this side, or either at the other side either, because most of this, the weight for this is all going to be going back onto the wall. So I should be able to just give this a nice little snip up. Right, we should find that this goes back quite nicely. Phew. All we've got to do is just cut back that bit on the floor. Nice. Right, so we've done down here the same on this side as well. So this should just meet nicely. If you look in the top there, you see what we've got. I'm pretty sure we have to change this because we want a straight on one for that toilet. But let's just pop it in and see how it fits. It might need a little bit jiggery pokery, account for the pipe that we've got down there along the floor. We'll see how we get on. Dee, 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 dee. So we're all looking good, guys. Bit of a shame about what we got down here. I was hoping Nick the floor man was actually going to latex more of this, which means we've also got a little bit of a gap along the old shower tray that we've got to sort out from the previous video. But we're going to be able to get over that. We're going to cut all that back, and then I'm just going to put like a sheet of the offcuts of this like floor laminate that we've got here to make that good. It's kind of like the best we can. I wish I'd have been here when Nick did that. Hey, Peter. Firstly, I can just pop a couple of screws back now to hold this back to the wall. We've got that nice and level. I actually prefer to do that with this than the actual brackets that they use. I just think it's easier and stronger. But the one thing we don't want to do yet, we don't want to put this back to the wall straight away, because now we know the heights at which our pipes can come up. So we can say, right, we want our pipes to terminate about here. So we can run those up now before we do that. Otherwise, if we fix this back to the wall and our pipes are tucked down there out of the way, we wouldn't be able to reach them. So we're going to get that done first, and then we'll get all of this pot back. So there's my T-mark. So what I've got to do is just bring these two pipes nicely up to that mark now, and then we'll be ready to fit that back. And then my next most important bit to do is get this toilet working, because these guys really need a toilet today. And let's face it, so do I.
Love doing a little bit of pipe work, guys. I always try and make sure that my pipe work's nicely clipped, that it looks gorgeous, and sometimes I just forget about doing any chatting to the camera about what I'm doing, because I'm so into the pipe work that I'm doing at that time. Remember, always check out learnplumbingonline.com if you don't know how to do this.
Right then, gang, so looking good there. These aren't fixed yet, just because I don't know what the heights are going to be. Please remind me in the comments to tighten these up. Now we can get this bit installed here. Let's do it. So then, gang, the first thing you want to do at this stage is actually just get the toilet in. So have a little gainer. Look at what we got here. The reason we want to do that is because first thing we want to do is this. There's a back panel that's going to slip down here, and we need to make sure that we cut our back panel so all the services can go into the back of the toilet, but we can't see any of those cuts from the front once it's finished. So I'm just going to measure that up now. It's very easy to do. So I'm just going to pull this toilet out a bit, pop the back panel on. Then measure the width of our panel to get the centre of the panel. Just mark that lightly. Do the same with the toilet. Toilet's 37. Line up our two marks. So we've got our centre here and our centre there on the loo. And now we can just run all the way around the toilet. Just like that. If you look at the side, we can see it goes back at the side. We don't have to follow this. We can just cut that like so. So now we know if we cut down from this by about 10 centimetres and then just cut along here with that piece of wood, that will slot in perfectly fine and give us the chance to get all our services at the back. Right, the next thing you want to do is, because we're going to be cutting this with a big old skill saw, we don't want our skill saw to be running across the top of this, because it's going to leave big track marks all around there, and that'll be seen by the customer when it's finished. So we actually want to bring over our measurements to the other side. So that's going to be 32 at the bottom, and then from each edge we're going to come in 14 and 14. Now we just flip it over, and then we just do our measurements yet again from the bottom, 32, and then just measure everything again. You don't want to do this wrong, believe me. Right, let's cut the beast. Right, I've got the old cut now. Let's get this back in. It's absolutely thrashing it down. Autumn has arrived. Right, and then when we push this back, our bead of silicone, when we put that on, yeah, that'll cover all that up lovely. Yeah, really pleased with that. So that's what we've got, but from the back, we've got our hole and everything sticking through for our toilet so we can get everything on. Right, so now we got that in, we're kind of at a chicken and egg stage. We've got to basically get our cistern in, and this piece of pipe here is defined by how far above the toilet the cistern's going to be, but also how far off the wall or away from the cistern centre will it be as well. So the longer bit is how far it's off the wall, and the shorter bit is how far the cistern is above the toilet. So you kind of have to have a little play around. I'm not going to say exactly how to do it here on this video because your cistern might be different. but I have a sort of way of doing it that I like. I personally like my cisterns to be as high as possible, because the higher they are, the more powerful the flush. But then certain toilet manufacturers actually stipulate exactly how high it should be. There's nothing here on this lot here, so I'm going to do it my way, or the highway. Right, so we've got our flush unit here, nice big rubber seal on there. The cistern body goes here, and then we have a washer and a nut on the bottom. So you just pop that on here, like so. Beautiful and easy. And then tighten that up, get that nicely nipped up. Sometimes a good idea as well with this bit here to think, right, I'm gonna have a fill valve there. Do I want all this lot to be getting mixed up with that? So sometimes what I do is get the overflow pipe round so it's here, and then have the wire coming around here so it doesn't get mixed up with the fill valve. Otherwise you might get a problem with it filling. Right, so that's now in. Now for the pipe in the bottom, we've got, this is standard compression fitting, so we've got a tapered rubber washer. That pushes into here, and this has some stoppers in so you don't push the pipe all the way in. Then we have our washer and our nut. Just do that up. All this stuff basically you can do up hand tight. Right, edge the toilet out so we can see our hole. Pop our cistern in, and now I know that I can bring my cistern height as far up as I want. So we're just about here, and I also know exactly where to drill my 2 screws for that, and I can sit on the toilet while I'm doing it, which is brilliant. I like sitting on it. Oh yes, I do. I'm just going to leave a little bit there though. So now I know that I'm going to have to shorten this pipe, and when I say shorten it, I mean this stub here. So there's a little panel that comes with these that we screw central, and then those screws go through there, and then we just do these screws up here, basically, nice and easy. Simple job. Gorgeous. So effectively what I do is measure the difference from here. So now we push this back. Now I know it looks like it's all lining up at the moment. It's not. This needs to go down a little bit like that. So the difference between the top of this pipe and the top of this hole, that difference there is what we need to cut off the pipe as it goes into the cistern. Right, so there you go, that's a lot better. But now we need to get this cut back to the right depth. So you can usually pop your finger in here and then feel how deep that goes, or you can use a tape measure. You effectively want to cut this back to about here, but every toilet's different, guys, so I don't really want to be the one to tell you exactly what it's going to be, but I can see that on there, it's just going to be there. Generally, you just leave a few inches out, and then we can put our rubber cone on there, and that's ready then. In a minute's time, I'll pop a little bit of lube on there, and we're ready to push the toilet seat back. Muy bien. Now it's time to put the fill valve in, so nice and easy, just going to whip this off, like so. Take our washer off, then we've got our rubber on here, and we should be able to just feed that down into the hole. You see it sticking out there now. Then washer on, then nut on. And yet again, this just gets done up hand tight. But what I might have to do is get a female iron down to 15mm to be able to get onto our pipe that we first fixed earlier, but we'll have a look at that and see how that goes. Right, so now we know that that's going to be all right. I've just got a new one of these to put in, and I've also got myself a female 1/2 inch to 15mm that we'll be popping over there on that in a few seconds. Let's get this bit in first though, yeah? Never a lot of fun this, but there we go, life. That's what all the people say. Flying high in April. Shut down in May. Right, new one, in it goes, nice and easy. These are so simple to do, as you can see. And then that's ready to flop out and go in on the new bulk. So pop that back over. Let's push that over here now. Sometimes with these rubbers, you have to pull them out. A little bit of hand cream on that, and that'll go in nicely. Absolutely lovely, it makes such a difference, that does. Right, let's get this side bit on now. It's not going to be easy this, but we'll see how we get on. So we're going to spin that up on there, put a nice little valve on there as well, so that's always valve offable if there's a problem. Right then gang, so they're in, that's now in and turned off. Now did you remind me to turn these off in the comments? I hope you did, but just so you know, they're already off, all right? So now we could turn the water back on. Just be able to turn this on. There we go, put water. Now you can quickly test to see if you've got any leaks just by lifting that up. On this you can just lift that up there like so, and then we can actually test our pipe work before we've got a full cistern. But there we go, so water back on. Right, and now before we do any sealing up or silicone in or anything like that, we can now just flush the bog. Just push this here, or you can just pop that on and we can flush it from here. And now when we do that, we just want to check everything at the back of the toilet, make sure we've got no drips. Gorgeous. There we go, just give that another test flush in a sec. Let that go up. It wants to be at 6 litres it says on here. Let's see if it will make 6 litres on that night mark at the back. Oh, it's just over 6 litres, but that'll do. And then just give her a flush. Woohoo! Sweet as a nut. Very happy with that. Right then, so we're looking good now. I've just cleaned everything away around here, give it a good old clean up, because now we're going to get silicone in. The silicone I always use is X-Pro Brilliant 365. This stuff is great, it's mold resistant, it's just much better quality than most of the silicones that I've used in the past. Absolutely love it. So that's what we're going to be using on this job. So here we go. First things first, cut this tip off here at the end, like so, and it always lands face down. I have no idea why, but it always does. Screw our main tip on just the end here, like so. Then I like to do like a 30-degree cut on this, so looking at that, that should be fine. And there we go, that's my cut done. So that's like the kind of cut I like to have. Then usually just squeeze through, and if you want to get the gun I've got, this gun's great. Always stays at this length because it has a coil on the inside that pushes in and out. You can get that on our Amazon store, but also remember you can get your X-Pro silicone 20% off along with loads of other X-Pro stuff if you use the code plumber parts, which you'll be able to do at the end of the video. I'm just going to do the bottom and the top, and I'll try and get that side done. That side there is going to be so difficult for me to get to now. I'm going to wait for all of this to dry out and come back tomorrow to get that finished. There is method to my madness, believe. You might be wondering why I'm not screwing this down, and there's a video I did a couple of weeks back that'll probably show you why. It's quite obvious. There you go, so just get that out like that, and just get that so it goes nicely underneath the loop. Look at that, this silicone just comes out so well. Going down this side, exactly the same thing. Now I get my profiles, you can get this on my store as well. Choose the profiles that I want to use, and then I'm just going to pull my profile around, make this look apps. This will look stunning once I've done that. Then I usually go just one size up. Yeah, there we go, just got a couple of little bits just along the tops there to get off. So look at that, looking absolutely gorgeous. Same at the top, exactly the same job. So at the moment it looks a bit poo, but that doesn't matter because we're going to smooth it off and make it look gorgeous. So guess I'm talking to the camera. So, guess what I did after I'd siliconed up that toilet? Oh, guess what? I backed out of the room and I didn't screw it to the floor because the last time I did that unnecessarily, because it is unnecessary to screw these to the floor these days, it's the silicone that holds them down. This happened, which wasn't great. So now it's time to get the toilet seat popped on. They all go down in different ways, and also I've just chased out a little bit of that plaster wall behind us there and ready for when we put the basin on in a few minutes time. So don't go anywhere. Right then, most of these are the same. All similar, who knows? I mean, it's all something or other, isn't it? So it'll be a little gubbins pack. You've even got some instructions that if you're a man, you can ignore. But if you're a woman, read these and do it right the first time. Oh. I am actually going to read these. Going to pop this screw out on here, pop that through this. Couple of screws up, same on the other side. That on there. Then these two just pop straight through these holes. I'll just start doing that up a little bit. Now we're not going for full tightness yet. I like to just know exactly where I need these to be because obviously there's a lot of adjustment on these. So we've got these like that, but they can move, okay? And that's what we want. We actually want these to move at the moment. We don't want these to be fully fitted down. Just so then we've got these little holes in the bottom here. Need to get these aligned first. Right, so they're on. Then we lay the toilet down. So I know it's come out a little bit. Let that toilet come down, actually sit where it's got to sit. Just nip these up a little bit more actually. They tighten a little bit. And now we kind of pull the toilet to where we want it to finish. So I want that nicely lined up with the edge of the loo so it looks lovely, which is pretty much there. Once that's like that, we can then fully tighten this up. All right, we lift this up again, press this button to release that. Then we pop our decorative covers on. There we go, that's that done. Put that back down. And there you go, toilet seat installed. Okay, so that's the toilet seat done. I'm gonna do the toilet button right at the end of this job. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get in our basin. It's gonna go across the whole of this, and then we're gonna get it all piped up underneath. I popped the basin on earlier on, and it was just slightly out of center on this cabinet here, and I wanted that to change. We've chased this little bit out here. We're actually gonna be having more decorative panel around this corner here, so it's gonna cover up any of the sort of marks that we've done from that chase once we've sort of done that, but I won't be doing that in this video. You don't want to see us put those panels on. It's pointless. So the first thing to do is actually just attach our tap. It's easier to attach the tap when the basin's out. Let's do it. Right, so first things first, we've got our tap here. This is a very, very normal tap that we've got. They always work in the same way. We've got our flexibles on here. As I showed you earlier on, they go to 1/2 inch, so they should go straight onto the ends of our valves once I've just filed the valves off a little bit. And then we've got a little screw that goes on the bottom. We've got our 1/2 moon clamp, brass clamp, and then we've got our rubber clamp. You see my fingers as the basin? That's how this is all going to go, okay? So I'm just going to pop that on there now, get that tightened up. It's going to look gorgeous. I'm trying to do this in a way that you can see it, everyone. It's never easy. It's the trouble with being a YouTuber. Right, okay, put that in there. Rubber on first. Also make sure the stud's tightened up still inside the tap. We're not going to tighten this up right yet. We're just going to get this made up. And if you're wondering where I get these from, these are on the Amazon store. They're insane. Go on my Amazon store at the end of the video and get them. They're brilliant. Now I've got a clicker waste on here, so we're just going to undo the clicker. Pop our screw down the middle of that. There's a rubber washer under here that will see it on the other side, on the top side of the basin. Then we've got our bottom piece here with the bottom rubber washer on there. The eagle-eyed among you are going to notice that this doesn't have an overflow slot in it. So I am going to let them know about that. We might need to just, well, you either inform them, do not ever let that overflow, or we put an overflow slot clicker waste in the bottom. Try and say that quick. Or we try and put an overflow waste clicker slot in the bottom. Oh, hold on, no, it does take it. Oh my God, that is cool. I love that. That is so good. I was wrong, it does actually have one. That is a really good way of doing it. Please, can everyone do it like that from now on? Yeah, so much better. So yeah, that has got the slot for it. Right, just nipping that up now. Right, tightened up. Now we can put the old girl in here. And I've got a nice tap to hold on while I'm doing it. How about that? Beautiful. Right, so once we've got it in like that, look, now you know what I mean. We've just sunk that in there, and that means that this edge and this edge here is the same. Otherwise we'd have a big old ledge over there and absolutely hardly anything then. That's just important. Just pop a bead of silicone underneath, along the top, just at the back I'd say. The front bit you can do if you want, but you're going to end up having to smooth quite a lot of it off and getting rid of it. So you're better off just popping it around the back there like that. That'll fix it down nicely. And then we can get our tap on. But let's get some silicone down the back first. I just want to make sure she's going all right. She does go in all right. Push up, mi amigo. Now we're just going to run a little bit of silicone along here. Gorgeous. Look, it's a great thing about X-Pro stuff. You can just use it for so many different applications. Bonito. Spiffing. It's a lot more central there, isn't it? Now we get the clicker in. Quality. Now you might think we are about to do our silicone along the top, but I'm not going to do that just yet. I want to get all my pipe work underneath done because we might be pulling around the sink a little bit and then we'll disrupt that lovely silicone that we put on. Silicone's the last thing we do, and also we do still need to get a little bit on that end panel there as well. Right, underneath the sink, here we are. So simple enough. Because we're on flexies, it's very, very simple for us to get these in. Now you could say I could reduce these down so they just go nice and straight on like that. But you can sometimes, if you're lucky, do a loop without doing any nasty kinkage. So I'm going to try that now, otherwise it means I've got to switch all the water off, drain everything out. But you have to do it exactly the right way. There we go, so that's there, and I've also just left them so these can still pop off a bit. Yet again, these are just so good. Sorry, I can't stop going on about how good these are. So there you go, that's that one up. And the same for this one here, you just if you've got loads on here, don't kink these, you don't want to kink them. You want to just flip that around and then get it going down like that, and then they won't kink. Nip that up, beautiful, look at that guys. We want to get our waste in, and we've got an unusual waste, an unusual trap for this. Here it is, I like this. This is actually what we call, it's a waterless trap, so it works in very much the same way as the shower trap that I installed in the other video in this room. If you haven't seen that yet, I'll leave a link to that below. But yeah, so what we have inside, we take this apart for you. So look, there's just a flap in here that will not let, it will let water out but not smell back. We've got a little rubber washer in here, so I can just pop this up here like so. There we go. You always run these screws back a bit until you hear the click, and then once you hear the click, you know you can just do them up again without there being any problems with cross threading or anything like that. Now all I need to do is just get our pipework down into here, all glued in, and we're done. Oh, there we go, look at that. And you've got 45s going off to the outlet, which means it will flow better. Oh, beautiful. We can turn the water on now to this. There you go, that's that one on. And this one here, beautiful. We can now slowly test, just slowly. There we go, nice. Make sure the waste is up. And I just want to get down here and have a good look, make sure everything's all right. Test for leaks. And then once that's all good, turn this up a little bit more. Gorgeous. But the main thing we'll do as part of this test is pop that on and actually fill this up as if someone's having a shave or something like that. Make sure that it actually holds water for a start, because sometimes you find that I don't know, for some reason it won't do that. And then once you've got it to a certain bit, just click that off. Make sure everything runs away nicely. And then look under here again for leaks. Make sure we've got no leaks running around there. And that side of the job is done. Now I'm just gonna get that little panel on. You're not gonna see that. The next thing we do, I will show you how to silicone across the back there. It's very simple. It's a lot easier than doing the toilet. So if you've done the toilet already, you should be qualified. Really, really qualified. Also guys, if you have kinked pipes just like this here, okay, we've got a problem now. The best thing to do is turn the water off to the whole house, open up the taps, make sure that's all good, pop these out a little bit, that's what I'm going to do. Undo, and I'm just going to cut the pipe about here and here, so it drops down and gets rid of our kink, and then we'll just re-put our valves just on there, alright? And there we go guys, no kinks on there now. Beautiful. The last little bit we're going to do is get our button on, and generally I just think, well, where can I get it? Where can I put it so it's not going to be a pain? So there's the button there. I'm just trying to think where I can fit that. So if we get that about there, and then I can just drill this hole on here. So let's do that. Just want to measure nice and lightly. That divided by 2, 16. There we go. So then you want to get a hole saw that fits just perfectly on there, which is that pretty much that one. Actually, this one here is a better fit. Nice. Then we can pop our button on like so and get that nipped up. We pop this on the back. Make sure there's nothing on the front like so. Cool. Pop that in there. Lovely. What a job. And then manhandle this back in. Now we can just lift the bog up and press the button. There we go, got a lovely flush. Sweet as a nut. I've got to wait for some quadrants to turn up for this, but for the purposes of this video, a bead of silicone around here and then we're all done. So look, I've popped my tip that I cut off in here to stop this from going off. How about that? And then before you start, give your tip a rub down, just make sure there's no dried out bits and bobs in the end, which there shouldn't be on here. And then I can string a bead out on here, lovely. Silicone profiles yet again. I always start big and then get smaller. So yeah, I'm going to start with that one there. And I always put it that way. I don't like using the tapered side. I don't know why. It's just me and it's just me. Pull off that way, like that. And again, just keep on going. Right, I'm going to go a bit smaller now. So there you go guys, all done, fully functioning tap, beautiful, gorgeous, fully flushing loo, absolutely lovely, nice and clean under there as well. If you haven't watched the earlier video where I took the bath out that was here and installed this lovely shower tray, then go and check it out now by clicking here, and if you haven't subscribed, please do hit the like and comment below. Ciao Bella!